That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 98 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
Hey, and I'm your other camp counselor, David Stokes.
And we're back to bring the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and mysterious. And before we get into our long stories today, we got to catch you up on any of the news you may have missed. But before we catch you up on any of the news you may have missed, we're going to give a little shout out to Bridget from Oregon. Your boyfriend Dana sent a nice email to us asking us to give you a little shout out. We hear you're an avid listener and a whiskey woman, maybe. I don't know. I think Dana's a whiskey man, so, shout out to all the whiskey men and women out there. And we just wanted to say thank you guys for listening, and we hope you have I don't know if it's your birthday. Is it your birthday, Bridget?
Let's pretend it's her birthday. Happy
birthday, Bridget. If not, then save this for your birthday.
Yeah, play this again on your birthday. Just pretend. It's a win-win.
But just shout out Bridget and Dana, and thank you guys for listening. And we're happy that you sent that email to us. But now it's time to get into some real news. And, David, we got some special news for you since you're such a fan of TikTok, which I am too, of course.
Love it. Can't get enough of those teens dancing.
So, the news right here. God, we're on a list now. But, in this article right here, it says, Louisiana man charged after swimming in Bass Pro Shop fish tank for TikTok followers. See, TikTok is a slippery slope because this man, he fucked up a few things, okay?
He took it too far.
Yeah, exactly. You don't swim in the Bass Pro Shop fish tank full of bass. That's like jumping on stage at the Chuck E. Cheese concert in the Chuck E. Cheese. You don't do that. That's for animatronics only.
Nope, can't do it.
That's for entrepreneurial mice only. And who's in his band? Like a chicken? Someone else?
I feel like, is there a crocodile? I know I've seen a crocodile playing a banjo. I don't know where.
Picturing Grimace from McDonald's
on the drums
for some reason. Anyway, this 26-year-old man, Kevin Weiss, he plunged into the indoor aquarium at the Bass Pro Shop in Bossier City, and he did it because he made a promise on the social media platform TikTok, saying that if he got 2,000 likes, he would jump in the fish tank.
See, that's not even that many likes.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's just not enough for a criminal record, but that's just my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, the thing that pisses me off is just like he set his bar too low. He got more than 2,000 likes for sure, but apparently he's getting charged with simple criminal damage because, and I think he's going to have to pay for the emptying of the 13,000-gallon aquarium. And so he's gonna have to pay for some money. But then there's like a video of him doing it that some lady filmed, and he jumps in and swims across and then jumps out, and you hear her go, "Oh my God! Oh, he's climbing out! Thank God! I thought he was drowning." And I was like, "What a weird suicide attempt that would be! I'm gonna go drown myself in the Bass Pro Shop fish tank, honestly."
And then I'm gonna go haunt the camping section.
Here's your freeze-dried chicken Alfredo. I sound like Jack Nicholson for some reason, but Jesus. But Dave, do you have any news for us?
Oh, boy, do I. You know how much we love naming babies.
What are you talking about?
We've had several news stories regarding the names of newborn babies, typically ridiculous, profound, and just downright inappropriate. And so today, I've got Usain Bolt, the second fastest person alive behind Britney Spears.
You can't catch up with her. She leaves
you really
toxic cloud in her wake too.
The best you can do is try to keep up and not get sucked in her the air vortex that she causes, and just get torn to pieces.
It's an F5 hurricane.
So Usain Bolt and his girlfriend Cassie Bennett welcome daughter named Olympia Lightning Bolt.
Whoa.
See, this one's actually really cool. I think that's a cool name.
She kind of be sounding like a Greek goddess,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of pressure. Now she has to be fast or an electrician.
She could throw a good shot put. You don't gotta be fast to do that.
True, but her name's Lightning Bolt.
I mean, her name's Olympia.
Maybe she could be a LARPer. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt. Lightning
She
Bolt.
could. I don't know how
You know?
good the LARPing scene is in Brazil. Or no, he's Jamaican.
It's great.
He's Jamaican, that's right. Not Brazilian.
Well, I'm still curious how good it is in Brazil. In Brazil,
As am I.
I'm
You
afraid
just get
that
shot.
the swords may turn into real swords quickly. Oh my god. But no, actually cool name. I'm not even that mad at that name. It's like
No.
it's all about a fine line of finding a baby name that's like unique but can still function in society. And it's even more it's more points if you could do like a shorter nickname, like if like she's like Olympia and she went by like
Ollie.
I mean Ollie is not like I mean it's okay.
I mean, there's the beer Olympia, and everybody calls it Ollie.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I didn't
that's
know
a
about
nickname for Olympia.
that. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't hate that. And he is the fastest man alive. I mean, fastest man alive.
He
No,
is the
still
fastest
holds-
man alive. He's not the
Yes,
fastest
yes.
person alive.
Exactly. But Britney
Yes.
Spears' children, they have some competition now.
I don't know. You see, Nick Lachey's got real flat feet. I don't think he's
got
very
fat
fast.
feet?
No, flat feet.
She doesn't have fucking kids with Nick Lachey.
Oh fuck! I'm thinking of Jessica Simpson.
She doesn't have kids with Nick Lachey.
Kevin
Federline?
Federline.
Oh yeah, he was the background dancer.
Oh,
I
so he
think
does
Nick
have fast
Lachey
feet.
is
98 degrees, Jessica
married
Simpson.
to Vanessa something. She was like a correspondent. Why do I know this? I don't.
He made a
Okay.
comeback, huh? Hold on, Nick Lachey. I spelt that wrong.
What do you mean he made a comeback? He didn't go anywhere.
He didn't.
He's
Well, for
still-
fuck's sakes, he was in 98 degrees. I think he actually did pretty well for himself, considering that he was in 98 degrees.
Yeah, I can't name you one other person from 98 Degrees.
I mean, name 2 Backstreet Boys. Name 2 NSYNC members. Actually, NSYNC's easy.
That's easy. Lance and Justin. We know
Yeah.
that. Joey Fatone.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
Joey. Joey
Backst-
always looked like he belonged in the Impractical Jokers crew.
Joey, your punishment today is you gotta do a whole concert fucking naked.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. See, David, I am so sick. I've had a headache for ever since I read this story because
You look a little pale.
because I'm so sick of these goddamn shitty world records that people are trying to break.
Oh, no.
As this fucking Indian teenager hops across ruler 101 times in 30 seconds. What is that?
That's impressive.
Is it? I
Yeah,
mean,
because I used to have to do those for sports. You do that thing where there's like the line, you have to hop back and forth as fast as you can. I think 100 times in 30 seconds is pretty decent.
okay, it's just like so weird because I mean, if Britney Spears could do it, she would fucking wipe the floor with him.
Well,
So,
the problem
like,
is Britney Spears can't do it because the earth below her would crumble. There would be no ruler. There's no way to measure it because she's so fast.
everybody would fall down. But I think
She would
Britney could
actually-
fly too.
She would
so.
actually speed up the year. We'd lose 3 months because it would make the earth rotate so much faster and go farther that
fair.
we would lose the whole summer. And honestly, that just Britney doesn't do it because she loves her summers.
That's true. But it just like makes me mad because like the pool is so small of people who've actually tried to beat this kid.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably just him. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we should try to beat a world record.
I will say the word penis, the most times in 30 seconds in Montana. Is that a world
Okay.
record?
It could be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, get yourself a ruler and let's see if we can break any smallest world records. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying.
My buddies
Bad
who were in
dick
town,
day.
My buddies were in town this last week. We were going for a drive, and I as usual, I quickly forced everybody to listen to Keith Sweat, because I love Keith Sweat. And our buddy Jared said, "Boy, I love listening to Keith Sweat in Helena, Montana." And then he said, "Do you think I'm the first person to ever say that sentence? Did I just say one completely original sentence?"
Oh my God!
I always think about that.
I think about that more often than most people because I think about it every New Year's. I have a fucking weird New Year's game where right when the clock strikes midnight, I try to be the first person to say like a weird sentence. And you know what? To be completely honest, it might have been like the first time anyone's ever said it ever, but I'll be like, peanut butter dentist top hat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's fun. And
it's a little fun game for yourself.
Exactly. But you might be right about the Keith Sweat one.
Yeah.
Unless Keith Sweat was in Helena bumping his own music and say, I love listening to Keith Sweat in Helena, Montana.
It's
Helena,
possible.
Montana.
Well, I think technically Jared did say, I love listening to Keith Sweat outside of this children's hospital. I can't remember the children's hospital name.
Was Joker there? Button doesn't work. That scene was improvised. Every film guy ever. You know that scene was improvised.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had one more story about an Oregon man driving a stolen vehicle and crashing into a woman driving a stolen vehicle.
That was in Oregon? Yeah. I saw the headline. I didn't realize that was in Oregon.
Yeah, the 27-year-old guy was fleeing from the cops. He was eluding officers, and he crashed into another car of a 25-year-old woman who was intoxicated and had stolen that car 3 weeks prior, apparently, and they both got arrested, of course. But
out of all the crimes in the world, that is one I would never be able to do. I would never be able to steal a car.
No, I'd be so scared all the time.
Oh my God, my anxiety would be through the sunroof. I would obviously steal a nice Land Rover with a sunroof, but I would just be freaking out the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I would have to like drive it to some place for like parts, like just take it apart. You know what I mean?
Chop shop. Yep.
Chop it up. Just get some money out of it because I mean, a bunch of people stole cars during like the riots and stuff like that, and then I saw people started getting like pulled over and arrested for stealing cars, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think that was like possible. I thought they just got away with it.
Yeah, one of my sweet dear friends, Kubi, you know Kubi, his car got stolen at the beginning of the whole COVID thing.
What?
And yeah, he just got it back like 2 or 3 days ago.
Who stole it?
No, but he said they left it in an alley 15 blocks from his place and actually put gas in it for him. So that's nice.
Oh, shit. You know what? My friend's car got stolen in college, and all they did was they like stuck a screwdriver in the lock and busted it open. And then same thing, they just joyroaded it around, and it made me so mad. They left his aux cord, which was like a Mosnter aux cord, like the Mosnter headphones or whatever.
That's what I got right now.
They left that there. Oh, do you? Yeah, they left that in there. We left that in there, but they fucking stole our catcher's gear from the trunk.
Like baseball catchers, like those weird pads that go on your calves.
Yeah, the calves and the shin guards and the chest pad and the face pad, and we got it for free at some garage sale, and we were like so stoked to use it. We're gonna have an actual like catcher's gear, and they fucking stole the catcher's gear.
How fast was this? Like after you purchased this said gear?
It was like a couple of days after we got the gear, and then his
Did
car.
you even get to play a good game of catch?
Didn't get to use the catcher's gear once.
God, that makes me sick to my stomach.
It hurt. Some things just are too far. You don't steal a man's catcher's gear.
That's for protection. He needed that protection.
I don't feel safe no more. I can't sleep at night in my full catcher's gear no more.
I've got one more news story.
Okay.
China is manufacturing, quote, boycott China caps and T-shirts due to high demand in India.
That's fucking dope. They're just like, we might as well capitalize on this if people are going to buy them anyway, right?
Yeah. Why not?
It's kind of smart. I mean, because, like, if it was like if people in China wanted to buy hats that said boycott China, they're like, I don't know, this is too close to home. But there's like, oh yeah, send them all to India. That's totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's not. No one's gonna get any ideas to boycott us if they're not
Yeah.
in India.
They're
It's
probably
kinda
just like,
interesting.
fuck it, we don't want any people here.
I mean, that's like when somebody gets like made fun of or made into a meme and they kind of roll with it and like make merch of that meme. That's what you got to do. If you start getting roasted on the
Yeah.
internet, make merch and profit off of it. Don't try to fight back because it never works.
Yeah. Harness that negative energy.
Exactly. Feed off of it. Anyway, I think we should get into these stories though, since I have a little bit of a longer one today, David.
Ooh.
But before we do, we got to tell you, drink your fucking coffee.
Drink
Yeah,
it.
we're talking about Spring Heel Jack. So go check
Drink
them out
it.
at Spring Heel Jack.
Drink it.
This is like the subliminal shit. In like a grocery store, they're like, don't steal.
Drink it.
Don't steal. SpringHeelJack.coffee.
Drink it.
Go check them out.
Drink it.
Okay, let's get into it. Now, David, most of the time when we think of terrorists, okay, this went in really fucking fast,
Whoa.
okay?
Whoa.
You gotta,
I don't
listen,
like
hear
where
me
this is
out.
going.
So, now, David, most of the time when we think of terrorists, we tend to think of the Al-Qaedas, the ISIS's, the KKKs, who are groups that mainly function off of hate, money, or both. Most terrorist groups make their own intentions known right from the get-go and then act upon those threats. But what if there was a group that remained a mystery altogether? Their motives, their people, and their intentions all to this remain a giant question mark. But before we can go into the theories of who they were or are, I guess I should tell you the story first, as this is the story of the Mosnter with 21 faces.
Ooh.
So, throughout
It's almost
this-
like a Baskin Robbins kind of thing.
I'm pistachio. That would be cool if they're all like different flavors.
Rocky Road.
They're like, don't talk to Rocky Road. He has a knife. But that would be fucking cool. I like that. Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that. Bubblegum. Bubblegum is the worst ice cream. Fight me on it.
I honestly did not know that was a flavor.
It pisses me off because they put real gumballs in the fucking ice cream, and then you're eating the ice cream, and all of a sudden you're just like chewing, and now you have gum in your mouth. So now you have to like separate the gum from the ice cream, and it's too much. Like it's like trying to rub your tummy and pat your head at the same time, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah, you don't agree with that little fun game?
No, the gumballs and the ice cream.
Oh, okay.
I do that all the time. I love that game. It's just hard, real
Yeah.
hard. That's how I got into college. I passed that test, and there's like, you're into Harvard.
Well,
You're
I can see
welcome.
that there's probably it's also probably bad because I'm sure with these gumballs sitting in ice cream all day, they're extra hard.
Yeah, they're like jawbreakers. Snap
Yeah.
your tooth.
Snap
Anyway.
it.
So let's get into it. So on March 18th, a day after my birthday, in 1984, the president of Izaki Gilco. This is in Japan, by the way. I should have let you know that from the get-go.
All right.
But yeah, the Monster with 21 Faces was a terrorist group that attacked certain companies in Japan, and weirdly, they didn't really discriminate against which companies they chose. So we'll get into it. But so the president of Izaki Gilco, Katsuhisa Izaki, was taking a much-needed bath after a long day of work at his stressful job. You see, Izaki Gilco, a.k.a. just Gilco, it might sound familiar because it is the candy and snack company known for their ever-so-famous treats such as Pretz or Pockies. Do you know Pockies?
Oh, yeah, Pockies are awesome. Those are the
I
little
know.
pretzel sticks that are dipped in like the sugar coating.
Yeah, and Pretz are kind of in like the same vein. If you Google like Gilco Company or Izaki Gilco, you'll see like a lot of their snacks pop up, and they have like a very similar vibe to them. Like you could tell like which ones are like Gilco products and stuff, and like they look kind of like Pocky packaging and stuff. But they're all over the world now. But in 1984, they were kind of smaller and mainly operating in Japan. But now they're like worldwide. People know who they are. But now the president was taking a bath at home, and while in the bath, Katsuhise's wife and 3 children got ready for bed, all behind the comfort of their locked doors and windows. But of course, Grandma's about to fuck it up for everyone, just like she always does every Christmas. You see, Katsuhise's 70-year-old mother lived at the house next door and was also getting ready for bed. But of course, crazy old Granny was probably letting a pie cool on the windowsill or doing some other grandma shit. While around 9 p.m., 2 men in white ski masks forced their way into her home and tied up old Granny. But don't worry, she wasn't injured. But if anything, maybe turned on if she was like into that kind of stuff.
Oh, I mean, there's a pretty good. Statistically, there's a good chance.
Right? See, it's like, tie her up. She was like, oh, no. And then she's like kind of playing into it a little bit. She's like, no. Mm-hmm. And then the guy's like, ugh, let's just leave her. She's getting weird. She's like, handcuff me to the bedpost. And I was like, ugh. While over at Grandma's house, the men then swiped the key to her son's house next door and snuck over to the tightly locked house with a rifle and pistol in hand. They walked up and opened the door with the key to see the wife and daughter standing in the entryway. But before they could scream or call for help, the 2 men subdued them without drawing any alert to Katsuhise making a bubble bath beard in the tub, which I assume he was doing. If he was if he's a CEO of a company, that's the kind of power moves you need to make. Big beard, big money.
If he's a man of culture, he would be doing that bubble bath beard.
Bubble bath beard. I'm going to get that tattooed on my chin.
A big old bubble bath
beard. So, luckily, the 2 other children were already fast asleep, so the 2 men in white masks skipped those rooms and went straight for the bathroom. So, they kind of have some morals with, like, the 2 kids are sleeping. If the mom and the daughter are tied up, why go in there and wake them up? We're just going to leave them and go after the guy we're actually here for. So, after cutting the phone lines and sweeping the house for, looking for him, they found themselves outside of the bathroom door, guns drawn. With a swift kick to the door, it flew open as the naked Katsuhise stood up ready to fight. But after he saw he was outgunned and heard the threat that his family would be harmed if he didn't cooperate, he let his guard down and let the 2 men in white masks take him and throw his naked self into a white van, which sped off into the night. Which is the worst way to end a bath, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the worst way to end a bath is getting sucked down the drain.
Or pooping in it, because then you got to take another bath.
Yeah, and then you got to do your favorite move, the old waffler.
The waffle stomp?
Yeah,
it's
how much
hard.
You love that.
It's harder to do a waffle stomp. It kind of becomes a waffle. Let's just call it a waffle Bass Pro Shop aquarium.
There you go.
It just looks like a fat man floating in shit. So by the next morning, a full-scale investigation was taking place to find out who and why this kidnapping took place. The police immediately put up a nationwide blackout on all info pertaining to the case, believing that publicizing details wouldn't help them in any way and might even get Katsuhise killed. So they just shut off all, they're like, don't let any of this information get out. And investigators initially thought that the crime may have been personal and close to home because of the knowledge of how they entered the home, but that quickly went away as a note was found nearby. You see, in a phone booth near the crime scene, a note was found demanding a ransom of approximately 1 billion yen, which is $4.5 million in 1984. And the kidnappers also demanded 220 pounds of gold bullion? Bullion? I always call it bouillon, but that's like what you make soup out of. Like, that's like a bouillon cube. Chicken bouillon cube, right?
You talking about a
just
billiards cube?
No. You could maybe salt the end of your stick with that, but no, it's like a little cube that's like salt and chicken flavor, and you put it in the soup to create like a broth, kind of. They call it chicken
Okay.
bouillon. Yeah.
Okay.
But the 220 pounds of gold bullion is worth $1.3 million. And at the time, that reached around $6 million, which was the highest ransom ever in Japan at the time, I believe.
Damn.
Because this was 1984. So police got a motive. You know, they wanted money. But not really a reason behind abducting Katsuhise Izaki, since Gilco, the company, wasn't a huge company at the time, and they weren't like, they were like a really middle of the pack company. They weren't like worldwide yet. They weren't like moving a lot of shipment. They were just kind of like right in the middle. But that didn't matter because police would catch a break as 3 days later, Katsuhise turned up. See, on March 21st, 1984, Katsuhise Izaki managed to escape from captivity after fleeing from a warehouse in the Osaka city of Ibaraki, where he had been held captive. So apparently, for those 3 days, Katsuhise was given some form of clothing, then bound with rope and hooded with a bag for the entire time. He was also fed juice and crackers by the two men, yummy, yummy, and constantly told that they also had his 8-year-old daughter captive there in order to keep him from wanting to escape, which actually does make sense. Like, you're not going to try to break out and run away if, your daughter's also there. Luckily, he realized that they most likely did not have his daughter, and also guessed that their guns were actually fake and made of plastic, since guns had been outlawed in Japan at the time. So he made a break for it, breaking his rope bindings and kicking down a door and running, which is kind of interesting. I think he might have heard either the guns or possibly the two men and figured out that they were actually plastic, which is kind of shitty to begin with, because then you just have that remorse, like, why'd I fucking go with them? I could have naked fought them,
I mean, that's the best way to fight, in my opinion. If you ever you just get completely naked, because no one wants to fight a naked man or woman
And you could like pee and poop on yourself too. I heard that's like a good tactic. You don't want anybody touching you. Nobody
you
wrestling
just shit yourself.
And
then you're all You're all slippery, and no one can get a good grip on you because you're covered in feces.
You know what's interesting? I heard that.
What's interesting?
They were tussling in the bathroom, and the burglar went and he tried to get a good grip on him, and he grabbed him by the beard, and his fucking hand went right through it, and he was so confused. And he looked up at Katsuhise, and Katsuhise just said 3 words. What do you say, David?
Don't touch beard.
He said, bubble bath beard.
bubble bath beard. And you know what? Also, that guy's now at a huge disadvantage because his hand is all soapy.
Oh, you're right. I didn't think
about that. You're not
gonna
get a good grip on him.
No, he's
game over.
Fucked. Big time fucked. Anyway, so luckily Katsuhise was able to lead them back to the warehouse after he reached safety, but no one was there. It was empty. Police thought that with the return of Katsuhise, that this was the end of the men in white masks' plan, but they were ever so wrong. See, less than a month after the kidnapping, fires began to occur at Gilco headquarters, inside the building, and to a couple cars in the parking lot. Gilco workers also found a tub of hydrochloric acid within the building that had a note attached stating that a one-time payment would stop the harassment. This not only meant that the white masked men weren't done, but they also had access to the building in some way, shape, or form. So that was kind of scary in itself to realize, oh shit, we're playing with maybe some insiders, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of scary. So at the time, the acid note was found. At the time the acid note was found, another letter made its way to the police, and it read, "To the stupid police, are you idiot?"
I love this.
Great opening. To the stupid police, are you idiots? If you were pros, you would catch us. Because you guys have such a high handicap, we're going to give you some hints. See, this is always what really fascinates me. So, you know how serial killers sometimes operate, not always, but some of them want to be caught, or they want the notoriety, or they want the fame, or they want to just play a game with people. And they leave notes and stuff like that. So they're kind of falling into the weird serial killer. What do they call it? What do you call that person? Like a
Oh, yeah.
self-obsessed, like narcissist or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're obsessed with themselves and they want the press and they want the attention in the media, but they don't also want to get caught. But eventually, most of those guys do because they want their name in the papers and their legacy. But
Yeah.
in the note, they stated that their getaway car was gray and that they stopped at a well-known supermarket before the kidnapping, which I don't even know if that's like great information. Maybe they could check like security cameras, but like who cares about that one? But they're also not trying to give too many hints, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, we got some Cheetos at 7-Eleven.
Ooh.
So they also asked in the note if they should kidnap the chief of police next. So they were kind of taunting the officers at this point. They then ended the whole note by signing it Kaijin Nijuchi Menso, which was later translated into the monster with 21 faces. See, the monster with 21 faces soon began to make allusions to them having laced Gilco products with potassium cyanide. And just to give you a little, scientific, since we're men of science, of course.
Of course,
You
of
know
course,
that.
of course.
I have my Bunsen burners and my beakers and my measuring sticks right here next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research, and potassium cyanide, if you are a 160-pound person and you eat just 0.55 grams of the potassium cyanide, the probability of dying is over 90%. Just
That's never good.
half a gram, and you're most likely to die. So they're basically being like, we're probably going to poison Gilco candy or snacks. And everyone started to freak out. So Gilco pulled $21 million worth of product from the shelves after the threat in an effort to suss out whether the threat was real or not. And this ended up actually being 3 times more than the ransom money was, which is like kind of ironic and shitty and like, fuck, like we should have just negotiated with terrorists and we would have saved so much money. But then there's also they're probably never satiated, as most, you know what I mean? You go, pay me and I won't leak your nudes, and then you pay them and they go, pay me more now, and you're like, fuck, like,
Yeah, once they got you, they got you.
exactly. Once you open up the gates, there's no closing them. So even after finding out that there was no poison found, like they went and they checked some Gilco products. They pulled all the candy and the snacks off the shelves, $21 million worth, and they found that there was no poison and that it was all just a hoax. But the company still took a major hit, losing $130 million in plummeting sales over the year. So they took like a fucking giant hit, because like even if no poison is found, you go, maybe they're not going to poison now. Maybe they're going to poison later. You know what I mean? You don't start buying Pockies and just crushing them up and snorting them. So Gilco finally received another letter stating that if they paid $1.3 million, the harassment would stop. But the cops were not as lucky, as the harassment continued in the letters. So they kind of give Gilco a way out. But the cops are like, no, we kind of want to keep fucking with you. So they sent another letter that said, "Dear dumb police officers, don't tell a lie. All crimes begin with a lie, as we say in Japan. Don't you know that?" They then sent another letter that said, after the police failed to intercept a phone call to After the police failed to intercept a phone call to Gilco, they received another letter that read, "You thought you could fool us, dressed up in your nice businessmen blue suits, acting like salarymen, but those shifty eyes gave you away." So basically they saw that the police were trying to, trace their phone call or trying to get more information out of them, and they're like, we're not playing that game. So they sent one more letter that said, "Why don't you keep it to yourself? You seem to be at a loss. Why don't you let us help you? We'll give you a clue. We entered the factory by the front gate. The typewriter we used is Panwriter. The plastic container used was a piece of street garbage. Monster with 21 faces. So they're telling them like how they got into Gilco and like what they used to put the hydrochloric acid in and like what they used to write the note. Just to like kind of fuck with police again, you know, like, oh, you guys are so dumb, we need to help you, you know? So, at one point, police thought they came close to identifying a member of the mysterious group when surveillance footage was brought to their attention. The footage seemingly showed a man wearing a Yomiuri Giants baseball cap in a convenience store, which is the Japanese form of the Giants baseball team, which sometimes San Francisco Giants actually have pulled a couple of players from. But he was also wearing a business suit and glasses with that hat, so it kind of looks strange. And the man,
that's a weird look.
Yeah, so the man appeared to be putting what looked like tainted Gilco candy on the shelves, and the footage was not only looked at after someone noticed that the Gilco candy, which at the time had been recalled and wasn't being sold, so it was like really suspicious that there is Gilco candy on the shelves. But the police distributed a clip of the video and photo stills to news outlets, hoping that someone would identify the man who appeared to be a member of the Monster with 21 Faces. But unfortunately, the identity of the man remains unknown today, and he has become known in the case as the videotaped man. So that led to nothing at all.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So the Monster with 21 Faces attacked Gilco relentlessly for months, but on June 26th of that year, the Monster with 21 Faces seemingly issued a peace treaty in a letter sent to the press. And in this letter, the mysterious group announced that they were going to be taking it easy on Gilco moving forward. One of the excerpts said, "The president of Gilco has already gone around with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him." They also stated that they were bored of the affair and that they were going to head to Europe to escape the muggy Japanese summer, which is, you know, it's just like kind of weird. It was very much like Zodiac type shit.
Yeah.
Like Zodiac was kind of sharing personal stuff and being like kind of toying and like trying to be funny and be like riddles and just like kind of being coy and stuff like that. And I feel like these guys are definitely trying to mimic that type of style, or one guy or woman.
It worked for him though, because we never found his ass. Right?
I know, it's fucking crazy. I mean,
we all know it's Ted Cruz, but like, you know what I mean.
True, that's true. But no, I listened to a whole podcast about it, and they went into like all these theories, and they still just don't have enough to prove it. There's like and then they also run into the problem of everybody coming forward and being like, I know who it is, and then there's like, yeah, it doesn't really match up, and they're like, no, it's this guy. So it's like they have so much shit to sift through now because everyone thinks they know who it is, you know?
Yeah. Which, who knows, one of them could be right.
Exactly. So I know that's the crazy part, that it's just sitting in front of everybody and we don't see it.
Yeah.
So, Japan had gotten terribly hot and humid. So, this is a quote from them to finish it up. It said, Japan had gotten terribly hot and humid, so when our work is done, we want to go to Europe. Geneva, Paris, London will be in one of those places. Let's bring Pocky, the traveler's friend. Delicious Gilco products. We're eating them too. See you in January of next year. And to the police department's surprise, the Monster actually followed through on their word and left Gilco alone. I know, weird, right? But that didn't mean other companies were safe, as the Monster was to go after some of Gilco's rival companies now, like Morinaga, as well as House Foods Corporation and Muradai Ham. And to speed this up, if you want to read like a full-on, like detailed event of what happened to each company, you can, but it just goes on for forever and ever. And they kind of did like a lot of the repeat things where they're like mentioning ransoms, like threatening, burning stuff, just stuff kind of like that. But I go through it a little bit. I hit like the major bullet points. So, like I said, to speed this up, I'll just hit the bullet points on what they decided to do to these companies. So, they extorted Marita Ham into paying 50 million yen by throwing it out of a moving train when they spotted a white flag on the side of the tracks. But they never spotted the flag, so the money was never thrown. So, basically, they said, get on a train. Take the train to this town. When you see a white flag on the left side of the train, throw the money out of the train. But there was no white flag that they saw, so the money was never thrown. Also in that scenario, they spotted a suspicious man that would follow the undercover cop with the money onto the train to the location and then back from the location as well. And they thought it was super suspicious. And then when they went to go chase him down, he hopped on another train and they lost him. But he was known as the fox-eyed man since he apparently had eyes like a fox, kind of like squinty and black.
Shifty?
I don't know what that means. Like just like really black eyes. Like who knows? It's kind of creepy in itself. But yeah, they didn't catch him. Then they sent a letter and 30 grams of sodium cyanide in an envelope to candy company Morinaga. Nobody died from that, but it was poison, and they're like, oh shit, they're actually sending poison in the mail. And then they sent a letter to the press for the moms of Japan stating, to moms throughout Japan, in autumn, when appetites are strong, sweet, and really delicious, when you think sweets, no matter what you say, it's Morinaga. We've added some special flavor. The flavor of potassium cyanide is a little bitter. It won't cause tooth decay, so buy the sweets for your kids. We've attached a notice on these bitter sweets that they contain poison. We've put 20 boxes in stores from Hakata to Tokyo. And they actually put the boxes in the store with typewritten warning labels on the boxes that read, danger, contains poison, you'll die if you eat this, the monster with 21 faces. So,
All right.
yeah, they're actually putting fucking boxes of candy in the store with warning labels. So it didn't seem like they wanted to kill anybody. They were kind of just being like, we want to like fuck with the cops and make them look bad or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seemed more like a game than anything.
Exactly, 100%. Also, they then did it. They then said that they would do it again with no warning labels, so Morinaga had to pull all their products off the shelves, which they did, and they actually did find poison in some of the candy. So
okay.
Now they're trying to kill people. I was really premature on that one.
A little bit.
So next, they went after the House Foods Corporation, sending them a letter stating, we are the culprits involved in the Gilco and the Morinaga incidents. If you do not want to become another Gilco and Morinaga, put out the cash. If you don't respond, we'll poison your products. They then sent a poisoned batch of curry to them because I think they like sold curry and stuff like that. So they just sold them they just sent them like a poisoned batch of curry. They were asked to pay 1 million yen and drop it off at a trash can with a white cloth over it. So they said that you drive to this place, you'll see a white cloth draped over a trash can. If it's on the trash can, then the deal's on and leave the money. And if it's on the floor, then the deal's off. And when they arrived, the cloth was actually knocked to the ground, which meant the deal was off because I guess they knew it was a setup. And this is the craziest part. I love this part of the story. They found out it was a setup. The Monster with 21 Faces found out it was a setup when, before the drop-off, the cops were called on a suspicious station wagon at a gas station near the drop-off. And when the man in the car was confronted, he sped off like really quickly. They're like, hey, what's going on? And he just like took off, and the cops weren't able to chase him down. And when they found the car later, it was abandoned, and the cops realized it had been stolen as well. And also it had a police radio installed inside so they could hear everything, including the setup that was happening at the time.
That's some Joker shit.
Exactly. Fucking wild.
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm gonna fuck you up on a subway. Hee. What's so funny?
Our friend Emily, who was just visiting me, I said I'm the Joker, baby, like we love. And then she was like, I watched the new Joker film, and I waited the whole movie for him to say, I'm the Joker, baby, because you and Tobin always say that, and he never said it.
I think she got confused with how the internet worked because we were talking about a chubby man from Australia or England who was doing a performance for his class, dressed as the Joker.
See, I didn't realize that he was. I thought he was American.
Oh, maybe he was. Oh, you might be right. I'm sorry, England. I didn't mean to put that on you. I'm sorry, Australia. That's
didn't
one of our.
deserve that.
We're the Joker guys. It's okay. So, but one more thing. While the cops were scoping the area for suspicious characters, guess who they fucking spotted? At a rest stop near the drop-off location. The Fox.
The Joker?
No. The fox-eyed man. But he was able to get away once again. Once they started chasing him, he got away again.
Oh my god!
I
These
know.
guys are so fast.
Dude, I know. Well, he's a fox.
You think it's Britney Spears again?
No, he's a fox. See,
Oh, okay.
the fox-legged man doesn't ring as nicely as the fox-eyed man. But you need the quick eyes to match with the quick legs, or you're just gonna run straight into a brick wall.
That's true.
So
That is true. Just like a cartoon.
they paint.
Flatten out.
Did you hear about that story that like in one city they were painting giant like tunnels on the sides of walls and police were like crashing into the tunnels or cars were.
Oh my god.
It's fucking great. So that's like some Wile E. Coyote shit. So
Yes, it is.
So after this exchange, they both suspects got away, which fucking sucks. They then went after a retail and restaurant company. I think this is the last one they went after, Fijia, and demanded that they scatter ransom money off the rooftops of the high-rise. Now that's some Joker shit. You know? I don't even want the money. I just love chaos. I don't think I could ever be that guy. I'd be like, I love chaos, and then I'd like blow up the thing, and like money would scatter, and then you'd see me like seeing everybody pick up the hundreds. I'd be like, I want some new shoes. I need some new underwear. You know?
Oh, it'd be great to have 3 meals tomorrow.
You know, crime costs a lot. Yeah, what the fuck was the Joker eating? That's the movie I want to see. The day before he went after Batman. Just like hanging out,
I would
watching
expect
Jeopardy.
there was like a lot of Arby's or Carl's Jr. involved. I don't know.
It drives a man mad. Anyway, so they said throw it off the rooftops. And for the next couple months, they continued to taunt the police and the companies, switching the public's perception of the police altogether. I don't think the company ever ended up throwing money off the roof. I think they got like a little sidetracked or something like that. They just kept taunting them and they didn't end up throwing it. But the public kind of turned on the police. And it was taking over a year to catch these terrorists. This was happening over a length of a year. So months and months and months are going by where people were fucking scared to like eat stuff on the shelves because they didn't know if this terrorist group was going to, poison their next favorite company or something like that. So the police had already missed 2 opportunities to catch the suspects and didn't. They also released sketches of the fox-eyed man, but nothing came of it as well. And the public was tired of being scared and was tired of the police not protecting them, having one newspaper state, "We do not recall a case in which criminals have made such fools of the police." So the police were like, fuck, this sucks super bad for us. There was then an outcry for certain investigators and officers to step down and be replaced. And that summer, Shoji Yamamoto, the 59-year-old police superintendent on the case, was relieved of his post and reassigned to the National Police Agency. He had overseen the botched operation when the driver of the stolen station wagon and the fox-eyed man had managed to elude officers under his command. Yamamoto had taken the failure personally, though, and apologized to the public for his officers not being able to detain the individuals. And this is where it kind of gets fucking sad. So following his dismissal, it became clear that this was the biggest failure in Yamamoto's professional career. And on August 7, 1985, just days after being removed from his position and reassigned, Shoji Yamamoto doused himself in kerosene in his backyard and lit himself on fire. He committed suicide by self-immolation.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so he felt so bad and so humiliated. But that's something, I don't want to say like across the board because I obviously don't know, but that's something that like at least in samurai culture, which is, Japanese warriors, what's the word I'm looking for? Like harikari and stuff like that, which is death by, like you would rather die.
Honor.
Yeah, die before dishonor. And I felt like this guy was dishonored. And so he was like, I need to pay for that. And it's so fucking sad that this happened. And it's crazy because even the monster with 21 faces fucking felt bad about this. And just days later, on August 12th, 1985, the monster with 21 faces sent their last known message to the media. And it said this: Yamamoto of Shiga Prefecture Police died. Okay, I guess they weren't that sad. They said, Yamamoto of Shiga Prefecture Police died. How stupid of him. We've got no friends or secret hiding places in Shiga. It's Yoshino and Shikata who should have died. What have they been doing for as long as 1 year and 5 months? Don't let bad guys like us get away with it. There are many more fools who want to copy us. No career Yamamoto died like a man. So we decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. If anyone blackmails any of the food-making companies, it's not us, but someone copying us. We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life. Monster with 21 faces. And they did actually keep true to their word, and the monster with 21 faces was never heard from again.
Wow. They never caught him?
They never caught them, but the theories, I'll just run through 4 things that I read. I don't want to go too deep into the theories, but I just wrote maybe Yakuza. They believe it was the Yakuza possibly.
Okay.
They said also maybe stock market traders because of the major dip in these companies. And then once they, gave the apologies and said, we're not going to mess with you anymore, the stock went back up. So they're like, maybe it's people trading in stocks.
Okay.
Maybe it was an ex-employee of Gilco because they thought that maybe they went after Gilco as a revenge plot. And then they're like, you know what? This was easy, or maybe we don't want to get caught. So let's go after different companies so they don't, track it back to us. And then the last one is that they possibly thought it was North Korea who was fucking with them. But no one still knows to this day. And the Foxman and the videotape man have never been identified either, which is kind of crazy in itself. And this is the most, I think, infuriating part that this exists, but Japan's statute of limitations is up on these crimes as well as the kidnapping and assault cases on Katsuhise Azaki, which is expired in March of 1994, and the charges of attempted murder and / mass poisoning lapsed in February of 2000. So literally, if these guys came forward, they might be able to pin something on it, but the statute of limitations for mass poisoning and attempted murder and the kidnapping of the CEO, both of those are off the table now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Maybe you could get extortion. They would be able to find things to pin on them, but there's certain crimes that have a statute of limitations. And I knew for the longest time, rape had a statute of limitations, and then they're
ridiculous.
And then recently there's oh, we're gonna take that away. I'm I totally there should be no statute of limitations on any crime. If you fucking committed the crime, I'm sorry, you kind of deserve to be caught a little bit, or at least looking behind your back for the rest of your life because you committed a crime. You gotta
do the time.
Exactly. If you did something bad. So that was the story of the monster with 21 faces, and yeah, they're still out there, or him, or her, or many people. Who really knows? It's such a mystery at this point. So
yeah,
that's the story.
You want to turn your headphones down a little bit? I can hear myself through the mic.
Cool.
All right, so I guess it's my turn here. Today I'm going to take us all the way to the land of Poland.
Ooh, where all the Poles are made?
How much you know about how much do you know about Poland?
I know that they make sausage. I know that they were one of the first countries invaded in World War II.
Yeah.
I know that they love dancing.
They do love dancing.
Do they love dancing?
I don't
think they
fucking
got
know.
some-
I'm sure a couple of people do.
I feel like they got some tasty treats over there that are kind of like empanadas, but I don't know what they're called in Polish. So,
Yeah.
is Polish even a language? Polish is a language. Do I sound
Yeah, I think so.
stupid, guys? I'm sorry.
I think they have their own language.
No, I just mean
Oh.
no, not that they have their own language, but is it called like something else? Not Polish, but it's
No, I
Polish.
think it's Polish.
It's Polish.
Yeah. So, with the population of nearly 39 million people, Poland is the 5th most populated member of the European Union.
Oh.
And they are well known for their hospitality, beautiful women, complaining, delicious food, drinking culture, talented athletes of winter sports, amazing soccer teams, and quality music. I had to Google what Poland was known for and found it was hilarious that beautiful women was literally number 2 on the list and then complaining was number 3. So I don't know how good that list was.
Wait, I got a question too. Does polka come from Poland? No. Where does polka come from? Is that sounds like more
I think
German?
it's Swiss. I think that's Swiss
You think?
with the wooden clogs.
I don't know. Polka music. Czech.
What?
Yeah. I guess
I didn't
so.
know that.
Yeah. Well, you learned something new.
I know. I fucking lived there for a long ass time. I didn't know that.
The first question is polka from Poland? Polka originated as a Czech peasant dance.
Huh.
And then it says Polish American immigrants adopted the polka as their national dance. Oh. Today, polka
Interesting.
is one of the few dances that originated during the 19th century and is still popular worldwide. Whoa, interesting. Okay, so it gets out there. Polka gets around, gets poking, and everybody gets a turn.
I'm afraid to say it, but I didn't realize polka was a dance. I thought it was a music that had like accordions and shit.
No, it is. I think it's both. I mean,
Okay.
you can't have one without the other, right?
That's true. That's true. So, we got this good list of things it's known for, but there was one thing missing from this list, which I want to talk about today, and that is the ancient vampires of Poland.
What? Why does that sound so
yeah.
fucking scary already?
Because it's awesome.
Like ancient vampires of Poland, that just like really it rolls off the tongue. It's like Transylvania, it's just like that place was made for vampires.
Yeah, I think what makes it maybe a little more creepy too is our just awful knowledge of Poland.
That's true.
Since we don't know shit about it, it might make it seem more. The uncertainty might make it a little spookier for us. But yeah, I don't know.
And it's like Transylvania too, where like it's in pop culture and stuff, and you're like, oh, Transylvania is actually very lush and beautiful and like very like great hospitality, and we're like vampire, big castle, scary bats, and people are like
Lightning bolts.
they're like, no, we have culture, and they're like, no, there's a book and it says your name in it. And you're like, oh, okay, sorry.
I read. So from the ancient lore of the Slavic people through the Polish Romantic literature of famous writer Mickiewicz up to the more recent archaeological discoveries of our modern times, the Polish vampire belief continues to capture the attention of millions. Now, when you think of vampires, you automatically think you automatically have the idea that their origin comes from, like we were just saying, Transylvania.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the scientists today who have studied the world of vampirism agree that the concept and idea of these sexy bloodsuckers came to the Western culture from the Slavic folklore, coming from the tales of Balkan.
Ooh,
So they believe that, like, Balkan, I believe, I had to Google it. I'm pretty sure it's just a region in Europe.
oh,
which
the
might
Balkans,
touch-
like the Balkans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I think I know where that is.
Yeah. So surprisingly, the belief of vampires are far more ancient than common belief. And they were very well known and talked about across the world and the Slavic European area a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
All talked about, and it was also we didn't realize it, but they were also talked about in ancient times in the areas we now know as Hungary, Italy, and Greece.
Well, yeah, if we want to get into it, like vampires fucking fly. They turn into bats and fly, and all those countries
Well,
are
not
near.
all of them.
Oh shit. Okay, we'll get into that. But I would believe like Transylvania is known for that because of the book Dracula. You know what I mean? Like that's where
Yeah.
he is. So it's like it could be like, yeah, there's one vampire in Dracula, but I wouldn't one vampire in Transylvania, but I wouldn't be surprised if they originated somewhere else and then that just got all the shine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's like, you think of America, you think hamburgers, but they're from Hamburg, Germany.
they're from Hamburgerville.
Yeah. Burgerville, man. That's some good burgers.
Oh, I miss Hamburger Helper guy Glove. He's so good.
Yeah, he came out of the mixtape.
What?
Yeah. The Hamburger Helper guy has a rap mixtape.
He does not have a rap mixtape
Yes, he does.
featuring DMX.
Hold on.
Oh,
Let me
my
make
God.
sure I'm not mixing up. Oh yeah, no. It's called Watch the Stove.
Did you ever see the Family Guy bit where he brings in Cheeseburger Helper's brother?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a good one. You should just Google Family Guy Hamburger Helper. It's amazing.
I'm telling you though, is that this Hamburger Helper mixtape Watch the Stove is straight fire.
It's straight fire out the fucking stove, out the burner.
It's gas.
Anyway, I'm sorry,
So-
we got tangenty there.
So the original concept of the Slavic vampire actually differs from the iconic Western idea, which were popularized by authors such as Bram Stoker. But the Slavic vampire to this day is a very deep part of the folklore beliefs of Poland.
Oh.
And so let's talk about the actual mythology of the Slavic vampire. The most famous and influential work of the vampire world is easily Bram Stoker's Dracula. And today people would probably try to attribute it to that Twilight bullshit, but nah. Stoker's Dracula portrays the main protagonist as a pale, nasty boy who is doomed to eternal life in his musty-ass castle where he walks around in elaborate outfits, oiling up his Beyblades and waiting for that sweet, sweet young blood or virgin blood.
Ooh, the young blood. Oh, it's so good though. You know what's
It really, you can just taste the difference.
You know what I just thought of? Like, I think it'd be a really cool or funny. I don't know if they've done it yet, but like Swiffer Duster should definitely do like a vampire castle commercial. That'd be really funny, right?
Clean out the stones.
Yeah, exactly. They got like high to reach places, and it's like you said, it's all musty and dusty inside those castles. They need a Swiffer Duster.
Yeah, that'd be a great commercial. Start getting on that script.
Yeah, I'm writing it. I'm not even listening to you. I'm writing it right now.
So, Stoker's Dracula is known for his wings, thirst for blood, and nocturnal lifestyle, which actually isn't the original Slavic vampire ways. The original idea of a Slavic vampire differs a lot from what we think of them today, and according to ancient beliefs, which are believed to go back as far as the 4th century of AD, vampires were basically the ghosts of deceased people or even a zombie-like living dead creature. And it's also noted that a mix between these two were also believed, being like a corpse animated by a different ghost.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So they didn't turn into bats and shit.
so they're more just like it kind of falls into a zombie, but like when we think of zombie, we think of like eating brains and violent, but like they could just have like business to attend to from beyond the grave type shit.
Yeah. So, the most popular belief have vampires bothering humans mostly by drinking or sucking their blood, so that always stays true, or eating their flesh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, I'm okay with you taking a little sip out the juice pouch, but like, don't be cutting up the juice pouch. I need that to go fill it with more juice. But everybody knows
Don't get greedy.
Any fucking good vampire just drinks enough so the person can replenish and then they come back. So only bad vampires fucking kill the host. You don't kill them, you know?
It's a sloppy workmanship right
But
there.
I have a question. Do they have fangs? Do they have little sharp teeth?
It didn't specify if they just sucked it right down the gullet or if they had fangs to suck out blood. So I don't know.
I mean, the fangs are probably like the scariest thing in like monster folklore. I think those fangs, and like we already kind of have them. That's the thing. So they just like elongate.
Yeah, our canines?
Yeah, it's kind of like the vampires are like a branch off of like a human form, like how apes and humans did it. You know, it's just like it's kind of cool.
The next step in the evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Not too crazy, just
So-
crazy enough.
Yeah, it works. So these vampires would also most likely attack their own family and relatives.
Grandpepper,
could be
watch
also-
out. I'm gonna fucking get
but
you.
could also but they could also be interested in the household animals as well. So these fuckers did have a preference between, or they did not have a preference between their old grandpepper or their dogs.
You know what? Grandpepper sometimes stinks like the fucking dog.
He's so wrinkly. Did someone suck his blood?
God, his fucking leg stinks. Wrap it in a trash bag. I love that joke. Smelly leg in a trash bag. Oh, Grandpa.
It doesn't. That's peak comedy right
Oh,
there.
Grandpa's coming over. It's Pearl Harbor Day, and he's fucking bringing his stinky leg with him.
Just need to lob that one off. And donate it.
I wish that
Donate to the pet store.
that fell to the bottom of the Hawaiian Ocean, you old bag. Is that too much? I'm sorry. I respect
maybe
our
a bit
veterans. I
much.
do. Just not my grandpepper. Me and David are saluting. If you can't see,
If you can't see, it's a full body twist.
it's
salute.
a fucking hard salute.
So now this is one thing I didn't know, but the Polish folklore actually developed a whole roster of different types and styles of vampiric creatures, and named them accordingly. And I'm gonna make a big old goof and fool of myself trying to pronounce these as
A
usual.
goof?
Yeah, but these are the names, and there are the Upor, the Wipor, the Wapirs, the Vampires,
There's like, do
and
we call Wambulance or the Vampires?
don't forget that Z at the end, and the Strizion, which is the female version of a vampire,
Oh.
or I mean, not the female version, but just a female vampire.
Yeah.
But the most common and original name for the Slavic vampire is the your favorite,
Oh.
the Vampires.
The Vampires.
The Vampires.
You know what?
The Vampires.
You know what I didn't think about until just right now? How fucking easy female vampires have it. They can trick
Oh, yeah, they can
any guy.
snatch up anyone.
Exactly. Like guy vampires are like, "Hey, how's it going?" The girl's like, "I guess he's like kind of like an artsy theater guy." And then like, or like they could be like gay vampires who are like, "Hey," but then like there's two like, you know, they're too much. They're wearing a cape. They're just they're DTM. They're doing too much. And then like the female vampires are like, "Hey, what's up?" And the guy's like, "Oh, that's cool. You gotta have like a goth. I like a nice goth girl. You know?
You're talking to me? Oh yeah. No, you're a vampire. I don't care. You can
Do
kill
I
me.
like hickeys? Heck yeah. My mom won't even know I got cover up. I have a scarf in my car."
the vampires, however you pronounce it, is actually where the word vampire came from. So I don't know if
wow.
they pronounce their W's different. Maybe they pronounce them like a V in Poland.
Vampire.
Yeah.
Soft W.
So the concept of how you become a vampire was also different to the Slavic folklore, and they had many ways to turn one into a vampire, such as the popular belief that a person could be born with two souls. So when the one passes away, the other one would take control.
Yo, that'd be
being angry.
so cool.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad at that. Like 2 souls, 2 for 1.
That's the most normal one on this list, by the way. Just want to point
But
that out.
it is kind of cool. It's like, is like the second soul like a bad soul, or is it just like a different soul? You know?
Yeah, they've just been sitting in the back seat watching this life go by, getting all pissed off about
Drinking
everything.
Mountain Dew, fucking.
Ugh,
Watching bum fights.
just pissing themselves in the back seat. So another idea was a person that was born with 2 hearts would become a vampire. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
This
die.
is where it gets good. This is where it gets good. Or if a child had 2 rows of teeth, so they're born with an extra set of rows, or if they were born with a unibrow.
Shark Boy and Unibrow Girl.
Yeah, and the last one is a baby born with fully developed teeth would also become a vampire.
That's what we call.
Like, goddamn, look at the chompers on that newborn. Good lord.
That's what we call a politician. Oof.
Oh, I don't know if I got that.
I don't know.
One.
It's
So
just
I
like
think if
they're
you're
always smiling, that fake smile, and those babies have full sets of teeth. I don't know.
yeah, I think if your baby is born with 2 hearts, more than 2 rows of teeth, and a unibrow, you've got much more to worry about than it becoming a vampire. That's just my opinion.
Why, they might become a professional
And,
NBA basketball player. Anthony Davis, keep an eye out for him. He's going to be floating through the court next week, dunking all the balls, stealing all the children from the fucking top rows, and drinking all the young blood.
He's got 64 teeth and 2 hearts.
That's why he's able to keep going and going and going.
He's just got a motor that won't quit. So it's also believed that one could become a vampire after dying from sudden death or committing suicide.
Oh, that makes sense. Like a
Yeah.
violent death usually brings back somebody, like even in like ghost form, and like vampires kind of fall into that same like.
Yeah. Exactly, especially because their belief is that these vampires are ghosts sometimes. Yeah. And it's also an idea that if a evil person died, they would remain evil and come back in the afterlife.
That makes sense too. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, what do you do if you've got yourself a Slavic vampire? Well, there are numerous ways to kill one from the Slavic folklore, and so many people at the time had an incredible fear of vampires that the people would often do these things to a corpse in their coffin before they had a chance to transform. So it's kind of like preventative.
Okay, like fill it with
Yeah.
concrete or something.
I don't know if they had concrete then in the fourth
In
century.
the fourth year.
Yeah. So this is great. According to old literature from who? Slavic vampire hunters. The body of potential vampire was buried deep and then covered with a heap of rocks, and the body would be turned face down so they would bite earth and try to dig down and not up.
Little insulting, but I love it.
Yeah.
See, I feel like if I was back in that day, I would definitely be a vampire hunter. Me and you would be vampire hunters because we could we
stupid.
could sell snow. We could sell a popsicle to a snowman, you know. But like,
you
I
go.
just think like we would just need to be like, oh, he just got away. Like we would be convincing enough, but we'd never actually do any work,
Yeah.
which is exactly what this podcast is.
We're in the dark alley scratching each other, so it looks like we've been in a
I'm
tussle.
like, here, bite my neck, and then some guy was like, "He's like, those 2 men having gay sex in the alleyway."
So poppy seeds were also thrown inside the coffin. I'm not sure why. Doesn't explain
'Cause
why.
they turned to bagels.
But I guess they I don't know. They didn't like poppy seed muffins. Especially those ones from Costco.
Oh, those are so good.
Oh, they're so
They're
moist.
so moist. Why? How'd they make so many too?
Another common tactic would be to place a sickle or scythe over the neck of the
If they
corpse.
sat up.
So the head would be sliced off if the vampire attempted to
Yo,
rise.
that's dope.
That's pretty cool.
Dope. That's dope. I like
Yeah.
that one the best.
And then here's a lame one. A pebble or a coin was also placed under the tongue if the corpse came back to life. Don't know why.
How you like that rock, bitch?
Yeah.
Is that a who put a rock in my mouth?
Coughs it up. It hits the ceiling of the coffin. Goes right back down the throat.
You know what? You know what they did in American Vampire Scare or whatever? They would fucking shove a full brick in their mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it like at least there's a brick in your mouth, which is
No chompy for
annoying.
you. So the corpse would also have its hands tied behind its back, obviously.
Nice.
Um,
This is
yeah,
kind of
to
humiliating.
all that to a little bit to do this to like your grandpepper.
Well, I'm doing it to him regardless.
I want the full
and
treatment.
I'm fucking wrapping his coffin in 3 trash bags. Febreze scented lavender. Yeah, you got me.
So to prevent the vampires from rising from the grave, the corpse's legs were mutilated so it couldn't walk if it got out.
Do that to Grandpepper
or
now.
Help crawl out. He's already mangled.
Stinky ass leggy.
It's just ground beef at this point. So
Grandpa, you're getting your ground chuck all over the comforter.
yeah. So now the biggest move that was practiced in Poland for this was actually to remove the head and place it between their legs while burying the body. And this was so the body would not be able to reach the head. This gives modern people the idea that a vampire could be walking around holding its head like a lantern, or maybe they could attempt to sew their head back on after getting out.
Or become record-selling artist Marilyn Manson. 'Cause that vampire can
Ooh,
suck
did
his
he do
own
that?
dick.
So spikes were also driven into the flesh of the tongue to prevent the vampire's ability to suck blood. So maybe they sucked it through the tongue. I don't fucking know.
I mean, we don't know the anatomy of
man,
a full
these-
vampire, so I'm not going to start saying yay or
No.
nay, but...
Boy, I bet they wish they had cremation back then. This would have been a whole hell of a lot
I mean,
easier.
that's the weird thing. They did burn people. That's it. Like, burning somebody is not new, but, like,
yeah.
I don't know if they're just like, how much of the wood ash do we keep? And, like, where does the wood ash start and the body ash begin? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So all these techniques were used, but the most common tactic was a more simple approach, and that was to just simply pierce their head or heart with a sharp wooden stake while the body laid lifeless in its own grave.
Hit him with an old classic.
Yeah. Some more recent archaeological finds in Poland show some people would also use iron nails or rods instead of wood. And the nails would enter the skull in the forehead or near the crown area and pierce through the brain, clear through the back of the skull.
Question. If you were dead already and they were like, we're going to do this, would you be like insulted or be like, that's like hardcore, that's awesome?
I think that's pretty cool.
So too. I mean,
When I'm dead, just fuck my body up.
I
Do
mean,
whatever.
at least
I don't care. Put me in a cannon.
shoot me into a playground. Like, no,
Launch me over the county
shoot
fair.
me through the Louvre's windows. I want to be art.
Just a splat.
No, but it is like pretty punk rock to like be like drive a stake through my brain, and like literally you're kind of solving the issue of like being buried alive too. It's not a great way to go, but it's a quick way to go. And if you're already dead, then like David said, who cares? Shoot me, put me in a cannon, shoot me. You know, it doesn't really matter, and it's just kind of cool when they find your body. Like, damn, this guy had like a. You know, at least then you have like a cool reputation. Like, let's say you're like a piece of shit in real life and they find your body with a stake in your forehead. They're like, this guy was a vampire. And people always kind of like vampires. Even if you're like the worst vampire and you killed like 1,000 people, people were like, you're still kind of cool, you know?
And still just so
still
sexy.
Still got abs.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just
Take
bones.
my head, but leave my abs.
So now let's look at today's modern discoveries. Researchers in a new study whose findings were published, they took in 60 of the 33 burials found at the Drosko Cemetery in the northwestern part of Poland. Six of the 60 of these were discovered to be vampire burials.
Oh, wow.
Which were not all. Yeah, they weren't all bunched up in the same area of the cemetery, which makes it fairly obvious that these 6 bodies were not buried within like the same time span.
Yeah, they're like
If that makes, because they would be next to each
Yeah,
other.
they were like, oh, like, 20 years apart, and like we didn't really like John. John was creepy. He lived in his like house on the edge of town, and he died. He might be a vampire type thing. I feel like it was like a very circumstantial, situational thing where like if the townspeople were kind of creeped out or like didn't like a person, they're like maybe, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the Salem witch trials, like you would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So researchers would attempt to analyze these bodies to determine the origin of the people. Using the teeth of the corpse, the scientists used DNA testing to see what these people were eating and attempts to pinpoint the location of their origin based off their diet. So if it's like, oh, they were eating elk, and it's like there's no elk in Poland, which I don't know. There could be elk in Poland, I don't fucking know, but that's just they'd be like, oh, so they weren't from this area if they don't have, remains of something not from the area.
Interesting.
When they compared the corpses with the local animals, they found that they were all similar, which means it was highly likely that the corpses they were not from any outside region. They were all local.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and since none of these bodies shown any signs of having died in a violent manner, and that they found that they would be natives of the area that they're buried in, the researchers decided that these men and women had been stigmatized for another reason. Attempting to give a reasoning to their findings that did not dive into the world of vampirism or anything mythical or magical, the researchers believed that they might have been some of the earlier victims of cholera, which swept through the region during the 17th and 18th centuries. Cholera can spread through contaminated drinking water and kills its victims in days or even as little as hours. And this would explain why no marks or damages were found on the bones. But what does cholera have to do with vampires? In medieval times, when people lacked the scientific explanation of how cholera and other various illnesses would spread, they were likely to blame it on vampires.
I mean, I was about to dive into that because with the Americas and their vampire scare, do you remember what the disease was? We talked about it. Like everybody died from it.
Tuberculosis?
Exactly. Everybody died from that back in the day. Everybody had TB, and when TB would spread, they said, oh, this guy died from they call it wasting disease, which is where you just get like really, really skinny and like you look like you're wasting away and then you die. And then people thought that they were attacking people from beyond the grave and giving them wasting disease or like drawing their life force from there. So they dig up the body, shove bricks in their mouths, cut their heads off, do everything that you said already. And to try to, fill their coffin with stones to try to get them to like stop like haunting or hunting people or rising from the grave at night and cursing people. So it's just kind of weird, that like wasting disease is very similar to, I don't know, it's similar to cholera. I don't even know what cholera really does, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Turns you into a vampire.
All I know is I don't want it. So, Leslie Griorica, a bioarchaeologist at the University of South Alabama, a professor, said cholera was attributed to the supernatural. They believed that people would return from the dead, feed on the living individuals, and cause the disease to spread. So, I mean, who knows if that's true, but that's what they speculate.
I mean, it's not that crazy. Like, just thinking how, like, I heard somebody talking about how, like, people didn't understand how, like, diseases spread back in the day, and we completely understand it, and we, like, kind of shame them or, like, mock them or make fun of them and be like,
well, you can only
exactly.
imagine.
Where you're like, oh my God, you thought TB was spread by like a vampire, like somebody from beyond the grave. It's like, honestly, if you don't know how like viruses work and like bacteria and like sickness, then like of course you're gonna think that there's something supernatural, because supernatural, one, is way more fun to try to figure out, and two, much more interesting. You can actually like grasp your head around like a spiritual or like a metaphysical idea, rather than like, wait, we have tiny microbes in our body, and what's a virus? And you know what I mean? It's so hard to understand.
Yeah. And they still, I mean, these are the people that thought the world was like a sphere. They thought it was round. So, I mean.
I was very confused for a second. I was like, wait, what the fuck are you saying? Those idiots thinking this big circle planet. Fuck that shit.
So, at the end of the day, this presents you with an option. Are you the type of person who plays it safe and demands that the mortuary removes your grandpepper's head and puts it between his legs? Or are you going to roll the dice and risk waking up with your grandpepper's teeth in your neck?
You know what? I'm not chopping off my grandpepper's head in the coffin because I want to do it myself when he rises from that fucking grave. I'm catching him, and I'm going to put pillows in my bed. He's going to rip back the sheets.
Yeah.
I'm going to be behind him. I'm going to lop off his head with one side sweep, and it's falling right into that Febreze bag.
You've got it
all
prepped.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's how he wanted to go.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I heard him myself. That's what he said.
But that's super interesting. It's kind of like a play on the Transylvania vampires, but like you could see that this is kind of like their origin. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of similarities, but there are also like differences where I feel like in the Transylvania version, they don't really talk about the vampires themselves' origin. They're like, oh, they're a race that always existed. But in the Polish version, they're more spirit-like, or they're transforming from a human because of like a tainted spirit or a bad past. You know what I mean? There's like a little bit more origin, while the Transylvania version was just like, vampires are vampires. This is what they do, you know? And I feel like they're not that far. So, hey, you know, who would have known? It's like, you know, all you need is a good walking stick and you're in Transylvania in 3 days, from what I hear.
There you go. Yeah. Just right down the old road next to the creek.
the old smelly road. I feel like the old shit pile road. They just got shit all over them. Anyway, okay, well,
it's caked with horse shit.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking out another episode of Camp Strange, episode 98. And thank you, David, for sharing that story. If you guys want any more information, you go to campstrange.com. We got all the hyperlinks there. If you want merch, we got merch. If you want to rate us, you can rate us too. And guess what? If you want to send us an email like Dana and Bridget, yes, Bridget, then you can send us an email and we will probably most likely happily respond. So, and that's at campstrangepodcast@gmail.net. So, David, do you have anything else to say before we head out of here?
Hold me closer, Tiny Dancer.
And don't forget to stay strange.